Good evening. Vermont Report tonight departs from its normal format in order to bring you this Vermont Report special. We have the high honor and rare privilege of presenting to you tonight the leader of the Kagyu Order of Tibetan Buddhism, His Holiness Gwalya Karmapa, heir to the unbroken lineage of 16 generations of spiritual leadership since the 12th century. The Karmapa is with us here in our Vermont studios tonight, along with his personal secretary, H.H.ษิ12. And H.H., I'm going to ask if you would please to introduce our guests on the set and to describe for us the general prayer which we're going to observe invoking the presence and blessing of the Buddha.
Sure. The High Incarnate Lama who's sitting beside me here, behind me here, is Venerable Jamgon Khonto Rinpoche. He is one of the highest incarnate lamas in this particular order. And here we have Gendu Gyatso. He is the representative of His Holiness in France, where they're building a monastery in the 500 acres that have been offered there. And then we have Venerable Bhardo Rinpoche. He is from Rumtek. And Lama Tenzin Chönyi, he is the president of Karmatriyana Dharmachakra in Putnam County, Carmel, where a monastery will be built by His Holiness. And we have Master of Ceremony, is Umje Thupten Sangpo. Then we have Lama Phunso next to him. Then we have Ishi Namdak. He too is at Karmatriyana, working with His Holiness representative Lama Tenzin Chönyi. And then we have Master of Ceremonies here, Chepe Lobsang Gyalse. And then we have Lodo Sherab, the personal attendant to His Holiness.
And now we are going to have this special prayer, H.H. Perhaps you could tell us what this is about before we start.
Well, this prayer is a prayer in general for peace and harmony. It is invoking the blessings of the three jewels to come in this particular area where the prayer is said, so that all sentient beings may be separated from the causes of sorrow, and that they would ultimately become one with the ultimate realization of the Buddhahood.
Fine. May we start?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Holiness was born in Tibet in 1924. He was forced to flee his native land when the communists assumed control in 1951. At the request and invitation of the then king of Sikkim, he led a group of monks to Sikkim in 1959, established a monastery there, and that is his permanent residence in Rumtek, Sikkim. And acting as our translator for His Holiness tonight is his personal secretary, H.H.ษิ. Could I ask you, H.H., to welcome His Holiness to Vermont on behalf of all the Vermonters who are viewing our program tonight?
당부 이신우 단다 바만 긍가데 여러분 데 쿠란스 강게 통 이신우 제가 통메도스 강게 돈 이신우 데 차벤 하시슈아이 송도.
Now, when we speak of the Kagyu order of Tibetan Buddhism, in terms of those who are viewing us tonight, what essentially are we speaking of? His Holiness is the spiritual leader of 20 million people, and what is that, the precept, the concept, the theology of Buddhism?
그래서 그주 person 그주 저번 디 아주 마하야나 부ddhism 디 낭베춘에 돈 디단다 이신우 올라면 베나사 니시스요레 손도 디 그주 디 제스 동에 딘자 이신우 그주스나 디 미세 데셰지 존스나 디 칸데시레 손도 주디
가주데 엄마 조비손제 전된데 그 맞아 줄이 단지매 봐. 추 조비손제 전된데 그 지수만 마도 가가요 말이. 근데 제수미가 근데 투톱 자사. 자가 그 투톱 자사 때문에 shum바가 나오네. 근데 텔로파라 미사가 까바비기도 거네. 나로파라 까바비기는 거네. 까바 이den가 추슈바 인자 가이게 추데 될 때는 가주 바스토버
Sunni says
나로파 추수
Sunni says that basically whichever school of Buddhism it may be, it is the same teachings because it is the teachings of Lord Sakyamuni Buddha. And Kagyupa, which literally means the oral transmission of the Mahayana Buddhism as it was practiced in Tibet, has its original source with the great Mahasiddha of India called Tilopa. The teachings that he realized and which were given directly to him by the fountainhead Vajradhara Dojichang, and from him it was passed down to the great Mahasiddha and Pandita of then the Nalanda University to down to Naropa and down to
나로빠라 까바비 예주바디어 바인 사카주바스.
Sure. Double she's
까바비. 전 까바비 제대 간데스그래.
Then the teachings that were handed down to Naropa and was passed down down till the present Karmapa.
Could I ask how, and I'm sure our viewers would be most interested in how His Holiness came to be the Karmapa and the leader of all of the Buddhists in the Kagyu Tibetan Buddhism.
The Jita Ishnu Tanda Karmapas in Arans Nangbet Chulton Tangarans Lama Zochi Chimati, Tanda Karmapas, Majita Ishnu Tanda Team, Candes Chavres. The Hakuma. As soon as maybe Jamgun Kondurumbche will be a better person to answer that. The Kamapas Tanda Ishnu Kamapas and the Jungun Kande Chaps and so on that the Lundesum nations.
The Kamapas Jungunti Karesana Kasore Tacheta Tambo Kurangi Tinama Duvet Masna Petusiorva. The Karesana Tusum Sanje Tamjegi, Chicken to Vegeta, Karmapas do Sanskritna Remado Tunda Sigmone the Tinebasi. The Tinebas to Sanje Tamje Chicken to be Tinebaris. And the Penatandati Jigdin like Handis pay with the washing Bresena, then the dog Sanje jumped in the Exumbin that Dojuta. The Tagana Shenge, Namashandazo again. So shall be Churman when I long dene, and it take long with Senitine and those China my June down on the Casore. Gamba Papa to Perva, Tines and that and the Gambit and your stuck with Theor Madonna Sudan la, Benandam Chow Tajal Gamba Chow Tajus. Because Tine tilts yours, Tito your maris.
The cherry to shall use.
Now, and Gusha becomes a mene. Benangun Zinchadan Canderesena, and Chikitila, Makuma Shakona, Cherisha to the Sajan, telling when they took cigarettes. They can't something wrong.
Jamgun Kondurumbche says that with the Karmapas, which has many predictions, which has been predicted by Lord Buddha himself, and is considered the Buddha activity, the embodiment of Buddha activity, the Karmapa. And from the teachings, the Mahamudra teachings, the line which comes from Vajradhara down through the Mahasiddhas to the first Karmapa, there was one who knows the 3 times, to the present one, it has been an unbroken lineage. And how the present Karmapa or the previous... Or in other words, the instance is the first incarnate Lama ever to be recognized as such in Tibet. Where is the Karmapa? The first Karmapa was Susum Kempa, which literally means the one who knows 3 times. And how the next Karmapa was recognized, or how the present Karmapa was recognized, is by the fact that the predecessor would leave behind him before he leaves his body. He would leave behind him in written the name of the parents, the direction of where the door would be facing, the physical description of the environment. All these details will be left. And then after he leaves the 15 Karmapa, after he left his body, then the abbots and the head of the monastic orders would go and look for that place. And
so he was discovered as an infant.
Yes, he was discovered as an infant.
He, as I understand it, is on the same spiritual plane as the Dalai Lama, yes, who would perhaps, in that terminology, would be more familiar to Americans, the Dalai Lama. Could I ask what the essence of His Holiness's teachings are, Achi?
Quran Sultana Quran Pena Vishnu and Dalai Lama Pena Chutone Consepet Cheba Mebti, Mochi Nanshi, but in the central sound. The Inzan Tanda Ishnu, the Chus, and would have the Karino sound.
True, the Chendrigo Zobison, Jandan, the Chute, Yene Yirchapo, Yempe Yodo Chebe, the Nekonza Kuru 마릭바가 출대바들 마슈바시 생휴아르드 네바시비다리스.
Solon says that the essence of the teaching. No, sir. The essence of their teaching is that one should strive to be separated from the causes of sorrow by understanding and realizing the teachings of Lord Buddha, and that they should, in all compassion for all the benefits of all other sentient beings, that they would be ultimately realize enlightenment for the benefit of all others.
Tigichute Dalai Lama Tangarasburg Dembanone Zo Konsu Dalai Lama.
No, sir.
Tini Sajakuma.
No, sir.
Tini Dunjam.
No, sir.
Yanzu Tanjame Bagamas Sunji Chute Tanda Terasu.
No, sir. So Sonu just earlier said that because all sentient beings are veiled by the ignorance, the veil of ignorance, and that it is the practice is to shred that veil of ignorance so that one may realize, the Buddhahood. And His Holiness says whether it's him or the Dalai Lama or His Holiness Sakya-Trizin or His Holiness Dunjum Rinpoche, they all teach this same particular aspect.
Is there a difference in the teachings of the Kagyu order as opposed to perhaps other?
Chebar yegi chudu cheba yo mari tage kondu kuba tigaran res. Yang kajul yini ma rog lama ge jubato shinlap ge junka. Shinlap ge junka se de lami tuji shinlap ge junka loma lo tuje de pune laso chuba toba na tende junka yongure ba. Tende ge junka tene yo res ka.
Solon says that the fruit of the practice is the same. Basically, the essence of the practice is the same, but it would differ in the lineage of the practice and the relationship between the teacher and the people. In other words, there are instances in the Kagyuba order that through the complete assimilation of the blessings of one's guru, one can at one instant even attain, complete enlightenment.
Is the basic practices of Kagyu meditative, contemplative type of life?
Maye rang sang chug tanda de heba de kechimbo jizgres. He de ten yomsul angel jerum sheju to zorum sheju ni ke de kechimbo zgres. Tane tatu gam jejrana kechimbo zgres.
Insofar as the
sunke de kechimbo ndala zgres.
Someone says, insofar as the Dharma or the teachings are concerned, initially it is important to go towards contemplation, and then one has to grow on the particular practices. That is basic. First, just the sitting, and then from there to basic practices of, we would say, the higher practices. There would be stages of practices to perform.
Archie, this may be a terribly naive question for His Holiness, but we in this country, I presume, the Buddhists in this country are in small number. If there are people who are viewing our program this evening who would have an interest in Buddhism and the Kagyu order, how would they go about investigating, learning, receiving the teachings of His Holiness?
The Chetan Thong to Sutulundina to Jetang Mango Yusingbal. Then Kunzu the J, Tenajem Hazebe, that the Gaju, the church in Jimmy Yamsulang to that the church take Shuato to some the Legiconchina, the Kawak Casati, the party church is it over the your vessel to the Rumbichik also.
tata tanga nekam den zo dehiwares chumba kne chuso program kinto dehiware ten donzo kadu pena peshores ten nga donzo ten nekam pa India donzo je pa lo kasina donzo jirdo chuja chumba yuware ten labar changa anala mare ten punado New York di sajati ke totna da jinda tendeci ke sajati ne push tende yuares tende indu ti zate kembo lova janzo yonjo des ameriki lumba lo tata mumbo che ke chulo rewa yoba yinza tende le pembisha de ni de chu dangshi tende yus tel tende te pana tsuni kan de zula kan ji dang tene tsu tena lagan jisa yoba tena koronso jo poma Amerika ga yurndana lo koronso ga chushesi yuri yabu chuna yur kuru lo tene hide yonge ga yizanda o chenji ite yongri sonne rewa teshe ne pana tene zon tata chagi she tene yins.
Sunil says that insofar as the viewers who may be watching His Holiness now, they are very fortunate because His Holiness says that in America we have, first of all, various Buddhist centers which were founded and are presently being directed by Venerable Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. And His Holiness says that there are different centers which fall under Vajradhatu and or Dhammadhatu, where His Holiness feels that they are the implements and the source where they can definitely come to understand the teachings who may be interested. And His Holiness says personally, this second trip has come about because of the fact that there has been this spontaneous interest in the teachings, and because of this spontaneous interest, Venerable Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche has felt that His Holiness's presence in this country and around the world would benefit many people who are looking and searching to understand this particular teaching. And His Holiness is keeping this in mind. He himself has now undertaken a great task, and that is to implant the true essence of the teachings as it was practiced in Tibet, that is in a form of a monastic institution. And His Holiness says that this has come about to the fact that during his first trip in 1974, he was here also in Barnet, Kamacholi, and across this country. His Holiness says that he has felt this great spontaneous interest, and he has felt that it was very important that the true essence of the teachings be established in this very country. And His Holiness says that for that he has now undertaken to build a monastery in Putnam County, in Carmel, New York State, where 350 acres has been offered to His Holiness to be used for the cause of the Dharma. And His Holiness says he has felt that this would be best used to build a monastery where libraries, where the art of painting, where translations, where they can receive teaching from the abbot, and in all aspects it could be made available.
It's a distinct honor for Vermonters, I am sure, to have him here and to know that there is the Karmate Choling in Barnet, Vermont, which is a community of about 150 followers of His Holiness. Is that correct, Achi?
Well, that's the center which was first founded by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. And His Holiness, during his second trip here, has been very much encouraged by the tremendous growth and how the students have been able to assimilate the teachings of Venerable Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche.
How long will he be here in this country?
His Holiness will be here approximately now 2 more months till until the 9th, approximately 9th of March.
We have many viewers in Canada. Will he be in Montreal, in the province of Quebec, Achi?
His Holiness has many centers all over the world, some directly under his auspices are generally, which all the Gaiju centers come under his personal auspices. And in Vancouver, in Calgary, in Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, there are these Gaiju Dharma centers. So this time again, they have persistently invited His Holiness to bless. So now we have confirmed this, and His Holiness will be visiting the whole of Canada after he completes his United States trip.
Well, we're very privileged to have him here, and we appreciate the Karmay Choling people participating in the presentation of His Holiness today in the Vajradhatu. Could I ask, we have about 90 seconds left, a minute and a half, if His Holiness would impart a blessing here today on those who are looking in and those who are looking for an inner peace and some kind of serenity in a world that is full of turmoil.